Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to make a cute baby brown owl charm. Back when I was selling these in my shop, these were one of my most popular designs, so I think it'll be fun to teach you guys how to make them. So the first thing we're going to do is roll out our clay into a ball. Get a piece about this big, just roll it out into a round sphere, and just going to make a nice egg shape. It's a little bit flat on the back. Just use your fingers to mold it into shape. So you should end up with something like this. So next we can put in our jump loop. I'm just using my 22 gauge pink wire for this. Just gonna take some off with our needle nose pliers, make a round loop like that, and then cut it about like this. Let's make a hook at the bottom just to give it some more security in the charm. This will help it not to come out after you bake it. Then we can just insert it into the top. Use our pliers to guide it through. I like to leave a little more of the loop on the top for this one because we're going to be putting on little ears that go up the side. So you want a little extra room for those. And then just get your charm back into shape if putting the loop in messed it up a little bit. Just get it back to the way it was. So after this, I'm going to take a needle, smooth out the top area where that loop went in. Just make sure that's filled in. And we can take some TLS and put that in there too, just for some extra support. So get that right in there. And on the sides. Anywhere you see like a little opening or hole, you can go ahead and fill that in. And just use your finger and smooth it out. So you should end up with something that looks like that. And the next thing we're going to do is add on the little ears. So I'm just going to take my needle and score both areas where I want my ears to go, just like that. Let's add some TLS there too. Alright, just gonna take a little tiny piece of clay. And you can make these bigger or smaller, it's up to you. I like to make them on the smaller side. Just take a little piece, I'm using about that big, make it into a little cone shape. Kind of flatten it on the bottom with your finger, and you can kind of pinch it outwards too around the edges. That'll help it form better to your owl's body. I'm just going to take my needle again and score that area on the bottom. Alright. You can just stick that right on there. And you can use your needle. Go ahead and smooth that into the body. There we go. So once you've got your ears, you can go ahead and do the wings on either side. Gonna do the same thing, just score the area where you want your wings to be on the side here. LTLS. Now we're gonna take a medium-sized piece of clay. Let's see. This might be a little too big. So a piece about, I like to get it about that big. We're gonna flatten it out into a teardrop shape. Kind of a rounded teardrop. So you should have something that looks like that. You can go ahead and score that. A little bit of TLS. And go ahead, take that and press it onto your owl on the side. Just kind of flatten it onto the body. You can rotate it a little bit if you need to. Just make sure it's nice and molded onto there. So once you have both of your wings put on, we can go ahead and do the back tail. So same thing, just gonna score the spot you want to attach the tail to, right in the middle of the lower back part right here. Some TLS on there. And just take a small piece of clay. Let's see. Be a little bigger than that. It should be a good size. And just pinch it into a sort of, I guess, a flat triangle shape. Flat on either side, and then so you can, let me see if you can get a good look at that shape right there. Go ahead and score this flat back part. You can pinch it a little bit too around the edges, kind of like how you did the ears. Score that again. A little tiny bit of TLS there. And then you're just going to attach your tail right where you made the score marks. Just like that. You can just take your needle, flatten that into the body. And you can either leave your tail kind of pointed like this. I like to push it in a little bit so it's almost a little rectangular at the end, but it's totally your preference. Make sure that's totally smoothed in there. There we go. So once you have that, you can do the last part of sculpting, which is the beak. You can also, if you want, you can paint the beak on later, but I like the three-dimensional quality. So I'm just gonna get a really, really tiny piece of clay. If I can ever get it, there we go. Super, super small. Let's see if that's good. That's a little too big. There we go. Really, really, really tiny. Just like that. Just gonna drop that right in the middle. His face like there. You can just kind of press it in, and I like to take my needle and shape it. I get to be a little more oval. Just kind of smooth it in. Use your needle to get it into the shape you want. There we go. Right. So you can bake your charm according to the directions on your clay, and then we can start painting. So once your charm is baked, one thing that I like to do is I like to get some super glue. I use Gorilla Glue, and you can see it's kind of shiny there. I just like to reinforce where the jump ring is, and other parts of the charm like the tail, maybe even the wings. I did this previously so it could dry so I'd be able to paint, but I have another video that shows me putting on the glue if you want to watch that. But it just kind of helps your charm be stronger and keeps the jump ring from coming out. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take a nice flat brush, and I'm using this a medium chocolate brown color. I'm just going to put on our base coat for the body. So do a few coats of this base color. Just get it to where it's nice and opaque and you don't see any clay underneath. It's just completely solid brown. So I've put about 5 coats of that brown on my owl. So I feel like he's ready for some details. So I'm going to take a kind of a light tan color. I'm going to make his little face mask area. So what I like to do is I start at kind of in the middle where the beak is. And I just try to make 2 large even circles right next to each other. And don't worry if they're not perfect, they're not perfectly round or symmetrical, because we can fix them once it's dried. Just kind of lay on the colors, give you, try to get yourself something that you can work with. Start on the other side. So I've done about 3 coats of paint on my little owl's face mask. As you can see, it's not perfect, so I'm going to go around with my base color. Just try to get the shape more to how I want it to be. So I'm just using a medium small brush. Just going to go around here. Just smooth it out along the edges. Reshape. So once you're happy with your little face mask area, you can go ahead and add very thin coat of glaze, and this will I just like to add it around the face area. It's okay if it goes on the rest of the charm too. This will just help, actually you can just go ahead and do a pre-glaze on the whole charm, and this will just keep like dust and other bits of paint from getting embedded into the paint job you've already done. It'll just be a nice protective surface, but it'll be thin enough so that you can still paint over it and you won't notice. So spread it on very thin. This will just make your life a little easier when you start doing more of the details. So go ahead and let that dry and we can get started on the face. So once your pre-glaze has dried, we can go ahead and put on the eyes. I've already done one, and I've let it dry completely. so that I don't accidentally wipe it off or mess it up when I do the other one. So I'm just taking my daughter with some dark brown paint. I'm just going to dot the eye on like so. So once you've got your eyes on the way you like them, we can go ahead and do the beak and the cheeks. So I'm just going to use this orange color for the beak. I'm using a really tiny brush. Just going to get a little bit on there. Just very carefully paint it on. So it should look just like that. Now we can put on the cheeks using this pink paint. And we can do that pretty much the exact same way we did the eyes. I'm just going to dip my dotting tool into the paint. I'm just going to put a small dot under each eye, kind of off to the side. There we go. So once your face is dried, we can go ahead and add some little feathers onto the body. I'm using the same tan that I was using for the face part. I'm using this tiny brush. I'm just going to very carefully paint on 3 little crescent shapes right under the face mask. So that's your first one. We'll do one on either side. I like to make the ones on the side just a little bit smaller. And don't worry if they're not perfect, because you can go in and kind of shape them and finesse them once they're dried. So once I have those, on the top, I'm going to do 2 on the bottom. So you should have something like this. So once your feathers are dried, you can go ahead with our base paint, that medium brown color, and just shape them. Some of them are a little too thick. They got a little messed up. So you can just take your tiny brush, just kind of go around. So you can see I've gone in and I've thinned out my feathers a bit, just shaped them and got them closer to how I wanted them. So once that's done and dried, we can go ahead and add, we can paint the wings and the ears. And I'm using a dark brown paint here, so it's just basically I just mix some regular brown with some black. And I'm just going to take my medium brush, just paint on the wings. These might need a few coats. You just want to make sure it's nice and opaque and none of the lighter brown is showing through. So I've done a few coats of the dark brown on the ears and the wings and the tail. Just make sure it's nice and opaque. And the last thing we have to paint now is just the little tiny feet on the bottom. So I'm using my orange paint. I'm just taking the larger end of my dotting tool, dipping it in, just how we do the eyes and the cheeks. Just making 2 little dots right on the bottom. Get a little more on there. There we go. So now he's got little cute feet. So once those dry completely, you can go ahead and start glazing. So now that our feet have completely dried, we can go ahead and start glazing. So I'm just going to dip my owl into my glaze here. Just get him nice and covered. And then you can just start taking off any excess. Just get him nice and evenly covered. And I usually like to do about 5 coats of glaze. So just do however many you think you need. Let it dry completely in between coats. So once you're finished glazing, you should have a super cute baby owl charm that looks like this. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial.